If you're in business, someone is trying to take your business. They're trying to take your customer. They're trying to take your money. And if you're not sharp, you will end up bankrupt, out of business, hungry, starving, and broke. You need the business anointing to prosper in the war of business.
Brothers of the word, where the voice of God is heard. Brothers of the word, there's a word from God for everyone. Brothers of the word, because brother, you need the word.
From the Ark of Salvation in Atlanta, with pastors Nathaniel Bronner, C. Elijah Bronner, and James Bronner, the Bronner brothers bring you the gospel.
Brother, you need the word.
I am Pastor Nathaniel Bronner, and if you own a business, I want you to listen to what I have to say today, because this is something that will bless and transform your business. Each year on January 1st at 8 a.m., we have the business anointing. Now, many of you are already familiar with the business anointing because we had it for the first time on last year. You heard the announcement, and so many of you attended. It was beyond anything that we imagined. I had people coming up to me outside of the church when I was out just in the mall, and I had one lady who came up to me and she said, Pastor Bronner, I was there at the business anointing. And tears literally started to roll down her eyes. And she said, after that anointing, our business just began to boom. And there I was standing in the mall, and this lady started crying and started hopping up and down and telling me what had happened after the business anointing. We literally had people tell us that after the business anointing, their business increased so much that they had to actually ask God to slow it down because they couldn't even handle the increase. So we have seen just what happened with the business anointing, with testimony after testimony after testimony of what happened when God placed his anointing on your business. Now, as many of you know, but some of you don't, who watch us on television, we're really business people. Now, I'm a pastor, C. Elijah's a pastor, James is a pastor, but our background is really business. I don't get money from the church. I'm not on a salary. I don't take an offering from the church. My money comes from business. I'm a businessman. That's what I've done for years. That's what my father did. That's what my father's father did. We're multi-generational business people who just happen to be in ministry, but we're business people who are ministers. And we're able to transfer that anointing onto the people who we touch. Today I have up here with me, I have my two brothers, I have my youngest son, and this is my mother. Now, as you can tell, my mother is, how old are you now, Mama? 77. Mama is 77 years old. Mama looks good for 77. and let me tell you, we didn't have to go get somebody to help Mama get up on the stage either. Mama's in good shape. Mama can go out and outwalk most of you all who are watching me right now. So Mama's in good shape. Mama's looking good. And the main reason as to why Mama is here, Mama stuck by, supported, and was submitted to her husband until the day he left this earth. So Mama is here because Mama anoints the couples who come to the business anointing. Because see, people, even if your business booms and your marriage busts, do you know that can mess up your business? So those of you who are in business and you are married, bring your spouse with you, because you need Mama to lay hands on you as a couple in the business anointing. So for the business anointing this year, we have some things that are a little bit different than what we did on last year, but they're all better, and they're all what God has spoken for me to do. First of all, we anoint you with oil, but this year the oil is a little bit different. And when I heard God speak it to me, I said, whoa. Basically, God said to make our own anointing oil, but to add in the oil gold dust. So we're making our oil out of pure virgin olive oil, frankincense, myrrh, and literal gold. So we're actually going to be anointing you with the same 3 items that the wise men brought to Jesus. They brought Jesus frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And I had to actually go and buy gold nuggets, get them ground down into powder to put into the oil. So when we anoint you, you may notice a little glitter that's on your head. Well, don't go wash it off right away. And that's not some glitter that you buy in the 5 and dime store. That's $1,500 an ounce gold. So we're actually going to anoint you this year with exactly what God has said, with literal special oil that contains within it pure gold. So you're going to have gold on your head when you leave out from the business anointing on this year. No matter what business you are in, if you're shining shoes, somebody else is trying to get the shoes to shine that's feeding your family. If you're cleaning houses, somebody else is trying to get those houses to clean. If you have a restaurant, somebody else is trying to feed your customer. If you cut grass, somebody else is trying to cut that grass. No matter what you do, you're watching me on television right now, and it is a battle for viewers. Every station is in a battle for viewers. And not only is every station in a battle for viewers, even the television companies. Cable is in a battle with the satellite television. If you're talking on a cell phone, the cell phone companies are in war trying to get your business. Business is a war. And if you're going to prosper, if you're going to break out of the habits, and if you're going to break out of the mold, and if you're going to break out of what you've been getting, you need the business anointing, and you need the business anointing from someone who's got the business anointing. The business anointing is being moved from here at the church, and it's going to be held at the Georgia International Convention Center. This is the big convention center that is just a few blocks down from the Hartsfield International Atlanta Airport. But that's where we're going to hold the business anointing each year. The church was so packed on the last business anointing that I really don't believe we'll have enough room. We had all 3 levels of the church standing room only. So this year we're going to have to move to a better place in terms of its ability to handle the size, but also just in terms of its business significance. And the other thing that we are doing, we are staggering the business anointing so that when you go to the businessanointing.com, you'll be able to register for a particular hour. So instead of you having to come and wait 4 hours as you did last time, you'll be able to choose the hour that you want to come, and it will greatly reduce the time that you have to spend. See, business people, time is money. And we don't want to tie up your time here all day. So you'll be able to select any hour beginning at 8 a.m. and you'll be able to see the hour slots that are available. Choose your time and you'll be able to come, and you won't have to spend much more than an hour at the business anointing on New Year's Day beginning at 8 a.m. Now, the other thing that God has instructed us to do, He says to verify that those who come are supposed to be there as best as you can. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Last time, I know we had hundreds of people who came and they really didn't even have a business. They may have been thinking about maybe going into business. Anointing people is a serious thing. That's why we're called the Ark of Salvation. But if you remember reading in the Bible with the Ark of the Covenant, when people touched the ark who were not supposed to touch it, God struck them dead right on the spot. This anointing is serious, and He doesn't want people who are jiving, playing, and not serious, and not even in business coming. Some people just wanted to come just to get to touch. They knew they weren't in business. They knew they didn't have a business. They just wanted to come just to be anointed and just to be touched. God says, no, this is for business people or those who have definitive, definite plans to go in business within the next 12 months. So when you come to the business anointing, first of all, you will be required to go to the website, register, and print out your tickets. It's absolutely free, but you will have to have a ticket to get in for every person who comes. So go to airjesus.com and click the business anointing, or just go to the businessanointing.com, choose your time slot, and print out your tickets so you can be admitted to the business anointing at the Georgia International Convention Center. Now, when you come, we're going to check your ticket, but we're also going to check your ID and your business verification. That means you need to have your driver's license and a business card with your name on the card that's on the license. If you haven't started your business yet, but you have definite plans to begin within the next 12 months, then you need to bring your written, detailed business plan. If you go to thebusinessanointing.com, you'll find a link there that gives you instructions of how to prepare a business plan if you don't already have one. God is serious about prospering his people, but he wants his people serious about being prospered. So we're going to verify. So we're not doing this out of anger or meanness or trying to be selective. We're trying to do what God told us to do. If he's going to place an anointing on business people, he wants business people getting the anointing. So we're going to verify that you legitimately have a business or that you have diligently done your homework to write, create, print, and bring your business plan. Now, the third thing that we're doing this year that's different is we're actually going to be providing a different type of gold other than the type we're just putting on your head. God basically spoke to me that we're going to announce it this year, but we'll begin it on the next business anointing. And it will only be available to those who attend the upcoming business anointing for the one that comes after that. And this is what we're going to do. Let me tell you just another case. We had so many businesses who wrote back with the testimonies of how their business had been prospered from the business anointing. But there was one in particular that really, in a nutshell, astounded us. It was a miracle beyond proportions that we hadn't seen. Some of you heard about it. But we had one person who made an investment, and this investment returned to the tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. He asked me to go with him when he actually converted over his investment, and I went with him that day to the business offices and all. And I went with him on October the 1st. And it wasn't until a week later that I realized it. I said, let me count up the time difference between the business anointing and the final realization of this thing on October 1st. And when I counted it up, it was 9 months to the day. Business anointing January 1st, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars October 1st. 9 months to the day. Now, what we're going to do come 2012, for everyone who attended and got anointed in 2011, January 1st, 2011, that's the one that's coming up. For everyone who attends that, you will be eligible to submit to us business proposals, and we're going to operate it very similar to a television program that was on not too long ago called The Shark Tank. The Shark Tank was a group of some of you may have seen it, but basically it was a group of business people who made equity investments into businesses with money and experience and guidance. And I was trying to think up a name for the program, and I asked C. Elijah, and he had a couple of names, but they didn't quite work. I asked Pastor James, and he had a couple of names, but they didn't quite. And God, he said, look, he said, ask Pastor Salters. And I called him up, and I said, look, I want you to see if you can come up with a name for the program that we're going to do. And I'll tell you just a minute what the program is. I said, I want to see if you can come up with a name for this program. And he emailed me a couple of days later with about 10 names, and I looked at them, and none of them really struck me as really being the name. And the next day after that, he walked into my office, and he said, man, I had a strange experience this morning. He said, I was laying there in the bed, and he said, God spoke to me just as clear as I'm speaking to you, and he spoke a name to me. And he said, I believe this is the name that you were asking me to come up with. He said, I didn't come up with it. God spoke it to me. And I said, well, what's the name? He said it's the working womb.